Seattle Seahawks and the Kansas City Chiefs, 10-point home favorites are the Chiefs in this one. 49.5 is the total across the industry here. Steven, I'll start with you. We know the Chiefs have actually had trouble covering these big spreads against these teams. And we know, okay, the downside for the Seahawks, no Tyler Lockett. So your kind of go-to guy whenever, DK Metcalf is good for the big play. We know Lockett is the guy that you look to when you're trying to move the chains, and he's kind of that type of guy for Geno Smith in this. I get why the spread is where it's at. That being said, I have no interest in playing the spread where it is at on either side, because if we sat here and we're reviewing this game next week and the Chiefs won by 20, wouldn't shock me in the least bit. If it was the Chiefs had to kick a last-second field goal to beat the Seahawks, would also not shock me at all. So this is really just to sit back and watch, no play for me at all. More than anything, it's evaluate the Chiefs against a defense that they should be able to pound. And can they finally get it right? Like, can they figure something out here? Because, again, Chiefs are down to number 4 in my power ratings. And I am not completely sold that this is like the team to beat like everybody else is.
Yeah, I had those same questions about their defense in particular last week, Matt, and I wanted to spend this week in looking deeper into the Chiefs defense to see if it's what my eyeballs were telling me the last couple of weeks. And I actually found quite the opposite, believe it or not, at least in terms of one key metric here. And if we look at the Kansas City defense overall in the year, they're down to 18th in EPA per play, 31st in red zone defense, which is probably the biggest issue with them. But we know that can get fixed even in the middle of a season. It's not as indicative, it's not as predictive of a stat as red zone defense. So the more interesting thing here is that where they are low in defensive metrics is in EPA per play. But believe it or not, they're performing extremely well in success rate. So on a down-to-down basis, on a series-to-series basis, they've been pretty consistent. Over the past 6 weeks, top 10 in success rate, both against the run and the pass. Last 4 weeks, number 2 in success rate. Last 2 weeks, despite giving up all those points, number 1 in success rate among all defenses. So what happened in those games? The offense fumbled twice, led to short fields and 14 points for the Texans, despite the fact that the Texans offense got crushed in yards per play. Week before against Denver, Mahomes threw 3 interceptions that led to 14 easy points on short fields for the Broncos. And overall for the season, the Chiefs are 30th in turnover differential. So the offense at times, despite how many points they score, how often they move the chains, and how high they are in these advanced metrics, are turning the ball over at a bottom 5 rate in the NFL. So when that happens, their defense is in a tough spot. They're going to give up more points. So obviously, I think we all agree the ceiling is there for the Kansas City Chiefs, that any given week they can blow somebody out, even some of the best teams in the NFL. But the turnovers are killing them. And this even goes back to last year where Mahomes had a lot of interceptions. So that's, I think, the challenge moving forward for the Chiefs. I did bet Seattle plus 10 on the look ahead here. I'm contemplating cashing it out, though, because I think Tyler Lockett's that important to this offense, and it's a big drop-off for them, in addition to the fact that the Seattle defense has been playing really poorly over the past 4 weeks. So, but I thought I'd at least give you kind of a handicap on what I think's going on with the Chiefs defense.
Adam, we have a double-digit spread again. Like I said, the Chiefs, for whatever reason, have had trouble covering those. I want you to hit on the game just in general. The total seems interesting at 49.5. It is at least somewhat of a weather game. 12 degrees at kickoff, about 15-mile-an-hour winds. So not that 20-mile-an-hour threshold that we really start to worry about. But, it's going to be at least breezy, and it's going to be pretty frigid out there. It's not so much do I think that the Chiefs could score, but it's kind of like, how much trust do I have in this Seattle team at this point?
Seattle's a team I was thinking that I was right about. At the beginning of the year, then thought I was right about in the middle of the year. I was wrong both times. I'm not right on them now. And I'm not going to bet them because I have no idea who they are. Last half of the season, EPA per play on offense, 23rd, EPA per play on defense, 26th. they are especially bad. Like, this is back to the early season defense of the Seattle Seahawks. And that's the one thing that would give me a little bit of pause about what should be an under, right? This should be an under for the Seattle Seahawks on the offensive side of this thing in terms of what they're going to contribute. I will say that last week would have been a great week for me had I not decided at the end to get involved with the Chiefs. And I looked at that Texans team. I saw the 2 quarterback rotation. I thought this is the ultimate get right spot for the Chiefs. And wow, was I wrong. And not only was I wrong, I chased it in game down to 6.5. I had Mahomes over 2.5 touchdown passes at plus 150. That was close, but never got there. That was a bad week for me.
I actually think you made a good bet. They completely dominated them in yards per play. It's just the turnovers got you. I thought you made a good bet.
Well, if you want to put the money in my account, that'd be great. I can tell you it's not there. So anyway, not a lot to add beyond the fact that I'll pass on this game just about entirely.
Yeah. Since week 10, Seattle defense back to where they were at the beginning of the season. They are dead last in the NFL in EPA per play. So it is as bad a defense as we thought. They hit a little easy patch in the middle of the season where we thought maybe something was turning around, but that ended up not coming to fruition.